Hey everybody, welcome back to Direct Focus. We're continuing our journey through Steven Spielberg's directorial career. After the bump in the road with 1941, Spielberg is back on track with the instant classic Indiana Jones, Raiders of the Lost Ark.
For nearly 3,000 years, man has searched for the lost Ark of the Covenant.
The Bible speaks of the Ark leveling mountains and laying waste to entire regions. Not something to be taken lightly. No one knows its secrets.
Jones, do you realize what the Ark is? It's a transmitter. It's a radio for speaking to God.
An army which carries the Ark before it is invincible.
The Ark, if it is their Eternis, then it is something that man was not meant to disturb.
It is protected by forces beyond imagination. It is desired above all treasures on earth by those who are good,
Trust me.
and those who are evil.
I'll tell you everything.
Yes, I know you will.
Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Let her go.
We have no time. If you still want the Ark, it has been loaded onto a truck for Cairo.
Raiders of the Lost Ark. A film from Steven Spielberg and George Lucas.
Spielberg was hanging out in Hawaii with his buddy, George Lucas. Lucas was there hiding from what he thought would be the abysmal opening for Star Wars. The two got to talking about their love of the serials they enjoyed as kids. They decided they wanted to take inspiration from those stories and develop their own adventure story. Lucas had taken similar inspiration for the Star Wars saga. Spielberg and Lucas got together with the incredible Lawrence Kasdan to develop the exceptional script. The titular hero, Indiana Jones, played famously by Harrison Ford, is an archaeology professor. This professor doesn't love his time behind a desk, but prefers to be a little bit more hands-on. He's a badass adventurer who hunts artifacts, but never for personal gain. A visit from an old colleague, Marcus Brody, gives Indy a lead on the infamous Ark of the Covenant. The hunt for the Ark becomes a race for the good of humanity. The Nazis are also on the look for the Ark. Spielberg and Lucas have created some of the most memorable movies and characters in movie history, independently and together. Indiana Jones is absolutely no exception. A character that's survived decades on a 3-movie franchise and weathered a questionable 4th installment was more successful than either of these industry titans could have fathomed. Spielberg himself said that he made Raiders to be something of a B movie. He just wanted to have a good time with it. Not bad for a movie that was a commercial success, adored by audiences, and is on AFI's best films of all time, somewhere around number 60. Perhaps the most major aspect of Indy's longevity is Harrison Ford. Ford wasn't the first choice for the role, far from it. Lucas didn't want to use him since he already cast Ford as the equally memorable Han Solo. He didn't want to dip back into the same pool of actors he'd already used. Big names like Tom Selleck and Nick Nolte reportedly have both turned down the role for other projects. At that time, Indiana Jones was less memorably named Indiana Smith. Once Ford accepted the role, the character was named Indiana Jones. Steve McQueen had a similarly named character, and that's why Smith was changed to Jones. It's insane to think anyone but Harrison Ford could have created the character. Ford has the look, confidence, physicality, and acting chops to make Indiana Jones what he is. Taking all that into consideration, It's hard to think that anyone else would be playing the titular hero. Of course, that day will soon come. Indy 4 was supposed to be a passing of the torch, but it fell flat for audiences. Indy 5 has been announced, but Ford isn't the young, rugged action star he once was. Of course, as Ford has famously ad-libbed, it's not the years, honey, it's the mileage. Setting Raiders in 1936 allowed the production to deliver the coolest globetrotter with the ultimate evil and perfect villain to constantly defeat, the Nazis. The Nazis make the race to the Ark something of crucial importance with no understanding of what the Ark can actually do. When the movie has a Nazi as the villain, there isn't much setup needed to explain to the audiences that these scumbags have to go. Raiders also established the film's iconic map travel sequence to establish the grand scope of the adventures. Much of the filming was done abroad, if not actually on site. Here's a fun fact: the Tunisian canyon where Indy threatens the Ark with bazookas is the same canyon R2-D2 is captured in by the Jawas. This nod to R2 may be a little bit of a stretch, but in the tomb that the Ark is first uncovered, there are engravings of C-3PO and his counterpart. Spielberg once again teams up with John Williams. Williams knocks the score out of the park, as expected. The Ark of the Covenant itself has its own theme. This theme is threaded throughout the movie, but the piece as a whole is saved for the climax. Similar style to what Williams has pulled off in the Star Wars series. Spielberg once again got to show his prowess as a filmmaker. The entire multinational action-adventure was shot in a mere 73 days. It cost $18 million to make, a fairly strong budget for the time. Nothing to worry about. The US box office alone brought in almost $250 million. We could talk for days about this movie. Luckily, we have a couple more perfect Indiana Jones movies to get through. Please remember to subscribe to our channel. Also remember to listen to So Wizard Podcast wherever you get your podcasts. Be sure to check out SoWizardPodcast.com. We love hearing feedback, so leave something in the comments or drop us a line on social media. All our social media accounts can be found after the video. Come back next time, we're going to be covering another massive hit for Spielberg, E.T.